If you think SUVs killed the soul of the sports car, BMW has one answer for you: the 2026 BMW XM. This is not a family hauler with an M badge. It's a 750 horsepower plug-in hybrid monster built by BMW M from the ground up, with more torque than an M5 in the presence of a rolling concept car. It's loud, it's controversial, and it exists for one reason: to prove that the wildest thing in the BMW lineup is no longer a sedan or a coupe, but a brutal, electrified SUV that doesn't care what the internet thinks. The XM is the first standalone M car since the legendary M1, and BMW didn't play it safe. You get a twin-turbo V8 paired with an electric motor, a high-capacity battery tucked underneath, and an all-wheel drive system that can send ridiculous amounts of torque to the rear. On paper, it does all the numbers: sub 4-second 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, a top speed that has to be electronically limited, and an electric-only mode for those rare moments when you want to sneak out of the neighborhood without waking the street. In reality, it feels like a concept car that somehow made it to production. Look at it from the front, and you immediately know this thing isn't pretending. Huge kidney grills with illuminated outlines, razor-sharp LED light signatures, and a vertical, almost upright nose that looks more super truck than SUV. The hood is long and sculpted, the stance is wide and aggressive, and the details are pure theater: contrasting trim, muscular fenders, and a roofline that slopes just enough to look fast without killing headroom. This is not subtle, and that's exactly the point. It's a statement. Move around the side and you see how BMW plays with proportions. Massive wheels fill the arches. Think 21, 22 inches depending on spec. Wrapped in performance rubber that's far more track day than school run. The body is high-waisted, with sharp creases running along the doors, and a floating roof effect at the rear pillars. It's big, it's heavy, and it looks it, but the design uses that mass as part of the drama. This isn't trying to hide, it's flexing. At the back, the XM doubles down on presence. Thin, stretched taillights underline the width, the tailgate is framed by strong shoulders, and the exhaust setup is outrageous. Stacked, angular quad pipes that sit high in the bumper, shouting M-Car even before you hit the start button. A diffuser, contrasting lower trim, and optional gold or dark accents give you a choice between over-the-top luxury and stealth fighter aggression. Either way, subtle is not on the menu. Open the door and the mood changes from brutal to boutique. The front cabin is classic modern BMW M, thick steering wheel with M buttons, sculpted sport seats with integrated headrests, and a curved display sweeping across the dash, combining a digital instrument cluster and a huge central screen. Everything you touch feels expensive. Leather, metal, Alcantara, mixed with bold color choices and contrasting stitching that remind you this is not a regular X5. It's a driver's office that just happens to sit high off the ground. The rear is where BMW leans into luxury SUV territory. Think of it less as a back seat and more as a lounge. A wide, deeply padded bench with generous legroom, a sculpted headliner, rich ambient lighting, and materials that feel closer to a high-end hotel than an off-roader. This is where owners will sit if they're being driven, and BMW knows it. Separate climate controls, USB-C ports, optional rear screens, and a serious sound system turn the XM into a moving VIP room. Under the skin, the powertrain is the show. A twin-turbo V8 working together with an electric motor through an 8-speed automatic gives output well past 600 horsepower in standard form, and even more in the top tune, with torque figures that make most supercars nervous. There's a usable all-electric range for city use, but the real magic is how the electric motor fills in the gaps. Instant shove off the line, fat mid-range pull, and relentless acceleration when both power sources hit together. You get multiple drive modes that change not just the throttle and steering, but how aggressively the hybrid system behaves. From calm, efficient cruising to full attack, battery-boosted insanity. Of course, power is useless if the chassis can't keep up, and this is where M engineering comes alive. Adaptive dampers, active anti-roll technology, rear axle steering, and an advanced MX drive system all fight physics on your behalf. Despite its size and weight, the XM turns in harder than you expect, stays flatter in corners than a tall SUV has any right to, and finds traction where you're sure there is none. You can feel the rear-biased character when you push, especially in the sportier modes that let the tail breathe just enough to remind you this is still a driver's machine at heart. And then there's the sound. No, it's not a classic, naturally aspirated roar. That ship has sailed. But the XM uses the twin-turbo V8, exhaust tuning, and some clever sound design to give you something that matches the visuals. In comfort or EV mode, it's surprisingly quiet and refined. In the sportiest settings, valves open, everything sharpens, and the SUV suddenly feels like a ground clearance challenged M5 with extra theater. It's artificial in places, sure, but it's entertaining, and that's what this car is built around. So who is the 2026 BMW XM actually for? It's for the person who wants an X5M or G-Wagon, but finds them too common. It's for the buyer who doesn't apologize for loving excess, who wants hybrid tech but refuses to give up a V8, who wants to arrive and have everyone turn their heads, even if half of them are in shock. It's not for minimalists. It's not for people who want their car to blend in. It's for someone who wants the wildest thing BMW makes, with space for friends and luggage on top. Now the question is simple. Is the XM too much or just enough? Would you take this over an X5M, an AMG G63, or a Lamborghini Urus? Do you want BMW M to keep building crazy, controversial machines like this? Or should they go back to lighter, simpler cars? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is one of those SUVs everyone has an opinion on. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2026 BMW XM and you want more honest, detailed coverage of the wildest new SUVs, performance hybrids, EVs, and concept cars, make sure you hit like, subscribe to New Car, and turn on notifications. There's a lot more coming, from super sedans to electric muscle SUVs, and you do not want to miss what's next. 2026 BMW XM, 750 horsepower plug-in hybrid monster that redefines the super SUV. Meet the 2026 BMW XM, a standalone M SUV that combines a twin-turbo V8 with electric power for supercar performance, brutal styling, and a lounge-level interior. In this video, we break down the design, cabin, performance, hybrid tech, driving dynamics, and real-world usability so you can decide if the XM deserves a place above the X5M, AMG G63, and Lamborghini Urus in your dream garage. Perfect for performance SUV fans and anyone curious about where BMW M is heading in the electrified era.